So, welcome back, everybody. If you happen to miss the intro for this series, it is last week's video that's called the intro to the Counter Heroes series. This whole series, this is going to be video one, is going to be doing about 3 to 4 heroes per video where we list exactly how to deal with these heroes in your games. This app is brought to you guys by Dota PLUS, a completely free app that allows you to have all the information you need on your opponents when you load into the draft. You can use it when you're spectating live matches, or you can use it at the start of your games if you're wondering what heroes your opponent is looking to pick, what heroes they have been picking, and also receiving suggested bans based on the success and pick rate of the opponent's picks, as well as the heroes that you have already picked. So here I have loaded into a pub match, and you can see all the information that I was talking about. You can see the heroes that these players have recently played, highlighted in green if they have a lot of success, highlighted in red if not so much, and then the suggested bans for Radiant, as well as the suggested bans for Dire. This app is all about giving you that upper edge loading into the draft to make sure you don't get surprised by those heroes that your opponent has been spamming and that you are ready to deal with what they are going to pick. Check out the link in the description below and check out the app today to give yourself the best edge.
Banana slam jam.
We shall start off with Abaddon. So I like to just see what 10 heroes are best against him and what 10 heroes are worst against him. The problem with a hero like Abaddon is, first off, if he gets silenced. So Death Prophet, very good at silencing Abaddon, but she also has Spirit Siphon that is not dispellable. What is also good against Abaddon, since he's a hero that's ultimate saves him from dying when he hits 400 HP, is heroes with a lot of sustained damage, or heroes that benefit from hitting you a lot of times. A perfect example is Slark, or Anti-Mage. So a lot of these heroes are either AoE, so the single target save from Aphotic Shield is not very strong, like Darkseer and Earthshaker, or they benefit from hitting you a bunch of times, or they have long, drawn-out, sustained damage. Lena will just keep hitting you, Lycan will just keep running at you. You're kind of getting the gist. To be honest, I would say most supports will get countered by specific matchups rather than by specific roles. I think specific role counters are more generally suited for core heroes. So I would say that it's mainly has to do with whether or not the hero minds any of their spells getting Aphotic shielded, or whether or not they mind hitting you for a long period of time. So generally burst damage heroes or heroes with stuns that are strong dispellable on single targets will be weak against Abaddon. So Abaddon does good objective damage. His third spell, his Curse of Avernus, makes it so once he's attacked 4 times, his teammates and him will have 100 extra attack speed on a tower or on Roshan. So Abaddon helps his team take objectives, but he needs them to do it for him. So Abaddon will generally sit behind somebody who is doing the job on the map. So when it comes to playing against Abaddon, it's not as much about hard countering the Abaddon, it's more about hard countering the hero that he's trying to save with Aphotic Shield. So whatever cores are on the opponent team, imagine them getting Aphotic shielded in the middle of the fight, and then pick a hero based on that. So the thing about Abaddon is all of his spells are really low cast range. But what he offers to his team is like a movable ward. He can either be the backline saver, or he can be the guy that scouts out for his team. So the first and foremost thing about Abaddon is if he's running in first, you either need to conveniently proc his ulti, like with a quick amount of 3 right clicks from a long-ranged hero like Drow or Sniper, or just ignore him entirely with mobile heroes like Slark and Anti-Mage that just kind of run right past him. You can deal with him that way. And the other way is if he's sitting right behind his teammates, just making sure you don't all-in commit onto his teammates, because he will be able to turn the fight if the strong dispel completely interrupts your combo. So Abaddon doesn't really kill you. You know, maybe there's a Mask of Madness Basher or Abaddon cores out there, but for the most part, this hero does not kill you. In order to kill Abaddon, note that his ultimate, even though it has an active, is considered a passive. So if you do want to kill him before his health falls below 400 without his ultimate triggering, you need to break him with Silver Edge or an ability that breaks. And if he's broken, he can still activate it manually. If he is broken and silenced, he will die without his ultimate going off. So, generally speaking, Abaddon, once again, will only represent the pace of the game that his teammates are representing. This hero likes to 5-man, he likes to follow his team around, he likes to buy enabling items like Mech, Holy Locket, drums, Vlads, stuff like that. If you see an opponent lineup with strong push or strong team fight, you can assume that the Abaddon will make that 5-man ball even harder to kill. He's very strong if he ever gets to his Ags. This hero does not farm very fast, but it's just most notable that you don't want to have his Aphotic Shield ever be a reliable save. So you can either itemize to split the map because he is a support that lacks with stuns or lacks any stuns or catch and can't really prevent you from doing so. Or you can itemize to burst the cores on his team before he's even in position. Or you can itemize to simply silence him or Yules him so he can't cast his spells. And you don't have to worry about him really killing you. So we're gonna skip completely over number 7. So on to our next hero, it will be Alchemist. So first and foremost, Alchemist almost always builds Radiance or Battle Fury. So he's generally very good against illusion heroes or summons heroes. As you can see here, summon, illusion. The way I think about Alchemist is that he is the greediest hero in the game and punishes greed. So what I think about that as heroes that want to farm the first 15 minutes of the game are gonna be bad against Alchemists, while heroes that like to run at you for the first 15 minutes of the game or are able to apply a ton of early objective pressure will be generally very bad against Alchemist. The only exception when we look at like push heroes like Lycan is that Acid Spray kind of owns them. So if you think about heroes that are good against Alch, they are very invasive kill type heroes, because if you're trading farm with Alch on the map for the first 15 minutes, that generally means losing. Generally, it's the role that lanes against him and the supports that are most important. It combines early tower pressure with heroes that have relentless onslaught of pushing the lane in and making the Alch constantly return to lane. If Alch's going mid, you want heroes like Morphling and Lina, that if Alch leaves to jungle for even a second, his tower is going to die. If you're playing against offlane heroes, it's heroes that want to stand on top of the wave and bully the Alchemist away, because other than the Acid Spray, he really has no way to deter you from doing so. So you have heroes like Legion, you have heroes like Underlord, heroes like this. In lane, you want the one core against him in lane, and then you want supports like the Skywrath Mage, like the Nyx, that will hunt him on the map. So Alchemist is very similar to a hero like Medusa. He will farm defensively for the first 15 minutes of the game. He'll get his Radiance or a Battle Fury, kind of depending on what the patch is. He'll get the next item like a BKB and then run at you. So this hero is incredibly passive, doesn't do anything to defend himself in the first 15 minutes, and wants nothing less than you to run at him. So he's playing completely his side of the map and learning to invade him as early as possible, mostly taking the tower in the lane that he's in, being the most important first step to invading him. So taking his tower and then running at him is the two necessary things to counter Alch's early game. And then if he's getting free farm, bracing up for a guy to be running at you with 4 items at 25 to 30 minutes, expecting to hold that off. He has that weak point from 0 to 15. Then he's a god with 2 items to 5 items. He gets 6 slotted really early, around 30 to 35 minutes, and he falls off from there. He has 2 ways to play fights. He's either a frontliner that pushes his ult and hits your buildings and baits you to go on him, or he buys a blink, blinks on top of you, and attempts to burst you within a stun. When it comes to him being an unkillable frontliner, items like Shiva's, Spirit Vessel, really important to bring down the heal of his ult. The options you have are either you think your lineup can burst him, in which case you go for him, or you accept that he's unkillable at any stage of the game, and you pick items like Yules and stuff to control him in the air while you kill the rest of his team. If he is the hero that's assassinating your team, he's buying the blink, he's trying to burst you guys, all of his kit is countered by a Lotus Orb. Believe it or not, Lotus Orb counters everything. It reflects his stun, and it reduces his minus armor because it gives the hero armor. So it makes it really difficult for Alchemist to ever go on anybody if there's one Lotus Orb on the team. Alchemist has a projectile stun that's almost always Lotus Orbable. It's very difficult as an Alch to ever want to BKB to counter your own stun coming back at you. I think we pretty much covered that. Counter regen items are the major thing about Alch. You have 2 options, is to either wear him down with damage over time heroes like Venno combined with health reduction, or heroes like Lion and Skywrath Mage that just make his 100 HP regen per second irrelevant because they die so fast. The thing about Alchemist is the only way he really scales is that he can give his teammates Ag Scepters, but what makes him scale is that he gets to 6 items so fast. So he'll have his 6 items between 30 to 35 minutes, and that's what makes him carry. 2 of his abilities are pretty useless in fights, Acid Spray as well as Grievel's Greed, so this hero doesn't scale in any other way than buying items. Heroes with really high armor are generally his worst matchups because he is purely physical damage. Or heroes that can stand their ground and ignore the damage over time. Heroes that come to mind are Terrorblade, Morphling, Ursa. The way to deal with him in the late game is generally be able to stand your ground and hit him. So it's with sustain items of your own, making it so you're kind of negating his ultimate regen by just man-fighting him. So like Satanics, Bashers, Scotties, things that basically say, I'm going to stand my ground, ignore your damage, and hit you back. Most carries will win the 1v1 man fight against Alchemist. Next up, we have ourselves Ancient Apparition, a lovely support hero that people love to use to counter the high regen heroes. So it's really important that you look and see the heroes that he deals with. Pretty much all of them are guys that you expect to stand still, run at you in a straight line. They generally lack mobility or play on low health or operate on regen in the case of Morphling and Slark. Slark's ultimate and Morphling's attribute shift are considered healing. But what he's really bad against, since all of his spells are unreliable, is heroes that can just jump him or are incredibly difficult to predict where they're going to be. Generally speaking, the roles that counter this hero are mid and carry. Occasionally offlane when it comes to summons, but it's all about these mobile guys that just shit on you. If I pick AA and the opponent has Storm Ricky, Storm Anti-Mage, Void Spirit, plus Ursa, I am really sad, because then they just kill me every single fight. So AA generally likes to play away from his team because of his global ultimate, but until the 15-minute mark, he has absolutely no way to clear waves. So it's really important to think that AA, because they nerfed his early cooldown on his ultimate, he'll want to play near his team more so until 15 minutes, and then later on in the game when his ultimate becomes lower cooldown, and he can kind of clear waves with the Shard, he will be kind of playing by himself like a Dawnbreaker or a Spectre from the support role. Good AA players will be freaking ninjas. They're going to be hiding in a little corner, waiting for one of your teammates to either hard commit or get stunned, and then they're going to ult you. So definitely a hero you'll want to hunt in fights all the time, or at least be prepared if you do go on somebody else to either disengage or at least move afterwards. Don't just go in and stand your ground. AA is the definition of a support glass cannon. He either will volley you full to 0 with help from him plus 1 or 2 heroes, or you'll just kill him and he's a useless piece of shit. AA offers absolutely nothing to the team other than bursting tanky targets. He doesn't take towers, he doesn't defend towers, he doesn't rapidly push creep waves. He counters sustain heroes, and he makes any burst combo lethal. So in terms of power spikes and such, is whenever his team is ready to go, whenever his kill combos are ready to blink stun or set up for him, that is when AA is strong, and he doesn't really offer any much else on the map. It is because his ultimate is percent based and that his magic amp is also percent based. So that's how the hero scales. So the natural counter to AA killing you is simply mobility. Most AA combos will get disrupted if you just force staff the guy that got initially stunned. You know, the Tiny's going to blink Avalanche, the AA ult's coming in to finish them off, and you can just force staff. So the best way to deal with AA in the late game in terms of not dying to him is simply don't give him the easy setup for the spells that he requires. So that's it. Those are the first 3 heroes we're going to be doing for the Counter Heroes video. This is number 1. We started off alphabetical order. We got Abaddon, Alchemist, and Ancient Apparition, and we will be continuing next week with the next 3. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching.